Deshaun Watson just had a Browns press conference for the first time in nearly 2 years. I'm not kidding, ladies and gentlemen. Last time he spoke to the local media was October 2024 season when he tore the Achilles. Also, Shedeur Sanders held his press conference today. Let's look at what both quarterbacks had to say. You're watching the Browns Report presented by Prize Picks, and I am your host, Joey O'Donohue, hyped up for this video. Like, this is something that, again, hasn't happened in nearly 2 years. So if you're ready to hear what the quarterbacks had to say, tap that like button right now. All we've heard so far is the media, the insiders, what they think about this quarterback battle. What do the quarterbacks have to say? Like this video, gear up, grab a snack, settle in if you're excited to hear what they have to say. The first in question Deshaun Watson would answer was naturally how he feels about getting this opportunity. And he said, quote, "It's a blessing. Anytime you get the opportunity to play in the NFL is an honor. I don't take it for granted. I work hard to do what I need to do." It's something that was conveyed here in Deshaun Watson's press conference is he says his mental is in a fantastic spot. And you can kind of see that. He's acting more nonchalant. He said he's an introvert now, too. That was something he said. But quotes from Watson included that he's great mentally. He's doing well. Says he's in a much better space and has matured and is happy enjoying his life. So you can see the difference here in his mental as he speaks at this press conference. And he's saying, part of the reason he is working so hard is because it is so important to him to start again in the National Football League. Okay, he says it's very important to get that chance, and that is why he is going all in to try and earn that opportunity. Also said there's been a lot of ups and downs for him, throughout his years in Cleveland, but he learned a lot. He had a lot of emotions at the time that he feels he has grown out of now, and again, is great mentally. This is all according to Deshaun Watson himself. Another reporter had asked him, was there ever a chance Watson thought he would never play again for the Browns or for the NFL? And he said no, never thought. Like, he shut it down right away. It was like, that's from internal conversations, the side of about the playing for the Browns again. But he just seemed to have never, ever had it cross his mind, even despite all the injuries. Something else that was kind of funny was his relationship with Jimmy Haslam came up. Said Haslam was at his wedding. They're boys. They're great. They're getting along. I mean, Haslam's paying him so much. I imagine that there would be some working relationship there, right? But he says they have a great relationship, and was even asked about the swing and miss comments from Jimmy Haslam, and Watson sort of brought up a baseball player, Bryce Harper, who swings, misses, and then gets back up there and hits home runs. And that was the reference he gave in response to Haslam's comments at the time a year ago. So everything looks good with him and the owner. What about the fans, though? Watson was asked about fans booing him and not supporting the decision to start him if that happens. He says, at the end of the day, I can't control what people support. That's their own opinions. All I can do is put out the best person I am, showcase who I am as a person, as a player, as a teammate. Outside of that, I can focus on what the outside is saying. I have no control over that. And I do want to know, Browns fans, because I'm someone who has obviously been very vocal about not wanting to necessarily watch Deshaun Watson over Shedeur Sanders, but I'm not in the room there. I'm not making these decisions. And so if Monken and the Browns decide to start Watson, would you support the decision? Would you cheer for him? Would you support Watson if he's quarterback one? I really want to know what Browns fans are thinking about this. Type Y for yes. Type N for no. Let's get as many comments down below about this as we can so I can really get a gauge of how split we are, Browns fans, on people who are supporting Deshaun if he's the starter and who are not. Watson was, of course, asked about that quarterback battle as well. And listen, he just left it up to Monken. Like, he and Shedeur both sort of talked as if we're just going out there to play. Like, we don't know who's going to win it. And he said Monken's the head coach. He's got to decide who he wants out there on the field. That's what Watson had to say about that. He had plenty more to say, by the way, and an update about Watson in practice that you guys will not want to miss. That is what's coming up next on today's show. But before we do that, I want to make sure you guys don't miss the awesome app that we are sponsored by today, and that is Prize Picks, the place to go if you love daily fantasy sports. Player Picks on fire right now as playoff basketball gets going, and there's no better place to cash in while watching sports than with Prize Picks. With the social feeds feature, you can follow friends, share lineups with each other, find celebrity lineups on the app too. It's all right there, and you can copy lineups with one single click. That includes my lineup. You know I got one cooked up for the big game 4. I love the more on Dylan Harper. I love the more on Stephon Castle. All of a sudden, I can pick Stephon Castle to score more than 10.5 points. Are you kidding me? He's been fantastic in these playoffs. That's my favorite player to pick on Prize Picks. It's helped me win money. Also going to go with the more on Karl Anthony Towns, and Wemby is the taco play on Prize Picks, so you can pick 32.5 points, rebounds, assists as his more, and I'm picking it, guys. That is a lineup that is $20 to pay out $56. New user offer. If you download the Prize Picks app today and use code HMA, you'll get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. The link is in the comment section and description of today's video, and that is code HMA to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. Let's get back to it, ladies and gentlemen. So we talked a little bit about Watson on the quarterback battle. What about Todd Monken as a coach? How's that relationship developing? Well, Watson says that Monken's system, it's a lot of quarterback responsibility in the system, and that's what I had in Houston when I was with Bill O'Brien. With Monk, he's given a lot of responsibility to us, and that is something I'm very comfortable with. So this is an interesting notion, and we've talked about this on the show. It's interesting to hear Watson say it for himself to the podium, that Monken's system, resembles a bit more of what he did in Houston with Bill O'Brien, where the quarterback can play freely, ad-lib a little bit more, not this buttoned-up, fit pro-style Kevin Stefanski offense that is honestly a terrible, terrible scheme fit for Deshaun Watson. So this is an interesting notion. I am intrigued to see if Watson can resemble what he was in Houston because of the new system. But then you get updates like this in minicamps. Browns back to 11 on 11s, and Deshaun Watson is intercepted by Rodney Hickman for what would have been a pick 6. Like, dude, there's no pass rush. There's no pads on, and we're throwing picks. And I get it. Watson's been, really good in OTAs, but come on, dude. This is where I lose the faith in him. Prime Watson would have been fantastic with Todd Monken. Hypothetically, theoretically, I don't think he's Prime Watson anymore. You're not that guy, pal. Trust me. You're not that guy. Not anymore. And so, even though I would be intrigued, I don't see it. I don't see it happening. That's why I picked Shedeur. Watson spoke a little bit more on Monken as a player's coach, though, and said, listen, he's a player-led coach. And coming out of Georgia, he thinks that Monken learned to be a player head coach, right? When you coach college guys, you kind of have to be. And Watson says that's benefited the locker room a lot, especially the young guys. This is a concept that I was promoting for a long time, and I'm glad the players are saying what I was reporting because it makes me look good. But also, I didn't think Stefanski was good for the young players, and Monken is much more of a player's coach. They seem to love him, like him, and want to play for him. And then Watson was asked about his future, right? Like, where is he at in terms of after this year? And Watson obviously didn't want to go into that too much. He kind of was just saying, I'm just trying to play a full season right now, man. I'm trying to be healthy so I can play all 17 games. Most definitely, I feel ready to. I feel good. Now I am fully healthy and ready to go. All right, the last year I was able to conquer that. I haven't been 100% since that Tennessee game in 2023. One of Watson's only good games as a Cleveland Brown was that Titans game in 2023. You could see his years with the Cleveland Browns, right? Numbers not great, but the real thing to highlight there is that he's never played a full season for us. 7 games, then 6 games, then 6 games. I mean, what are we doing? Are we paying him $230 million for this? Right? And so, obviously, health is one thing, but for me, it's can he be good? Like, he wasn't good when he was playing, especially not in 2024. Obviously, there was that year where we did get off to a good start with Watson under center. I don't think his numbers were that great, though, even when we were winning. A really good defense in 2023. And so that's the question for me is can he actually be good? Never mind actually stay on the field. But Watson's telling us he's fully healthy now for the first time since that year. Also mentioned seeing all the new faces in the room, which I think is an interesting part about the Cleveland Browns, is that Watson is actually our oldest player on offense, if I'm remembering correctly. And so he said he could help be a mentor to the new faces. Yeah, I don't know that Watson's the best guy to mentor all the young ones, but he says he's willing to take on that role if need be. What about Watson's relationship with Shedeur Sanders? Let's start to get to Shedeur's press conference and that part of this equation. Well, Watson says it's good. I've known the Sanders family. Me and his family got a good relationship. We always try to pull for each other and let Monken and the organization choose. So now, as we talk about what Shedeur had to say at his podium, um, he kind of mentioned that the media is looking at this a lot differently than he is and that the players are. Essentially, we, the media, are viewing this as what it is, a quarterback competition, right? So it's a battle to be the starter. The Shedeur says that the quarterbacks are helping each other, correcting each other, and they just want to do what's best for the team. Obviously, they both want a chance to start, but they're not necessarily competing with each other as much as they are actually being there for each other and you know trying to win this job and just focus on themselves essentially. One thing Shedeur says that he appreciated the most about Coach Todd Monken is quote relationship. Okay, to say the way that he speaks life into him. He says he's really feeling good about his relationship with Todd Monken, and I think that's a key word here because I didn't get that vibe last year about his relationship with Kevin Stefanski. This is a much better start for him and Monken, and he's obviously a big part of the offseason right now. One thing that was pretty funny that I'm sure people who love Shedeur and his family will love this as well. Said that Monken's coaching style was a little familiar to him, kind of hinting at Deion Sanders in the sense that Monken will interrupt practice to correct people and fine-tune some things, and Shedeur was like, "Oh, I'm very familiar with that," going back to days with Coach Prime at Colorado. So, in all here, as you got to hear from both quarterbacks, one thing you got to remember is Monken says we've got two starting-level quarterbacks. So, this has become a real competition. He has no idea who he wants to start at this moment in time, and he's telling us both of them could easily start. Both of them could easily succeed. So, I want to know in the comment section, with all that said, and with all they said, what is your confidence level in the Browns quarterback situation on a scale of 1 to 10? Comment the number to represent your confidence level in the comment section, all right? Your confidence level in the Browns quarterbacks going into 2026. Comment right now on a scale of 1 to 10. My final take is I think Monken feels like he can work with both of these quarterbacks. I think that is why he says there's two starting level QBs. That is why he's not ready to make a decision yet. And Monken has always adapted to the quarterbacks that he has been working with and brought the most out of them. Most recently, that was Lamar Jackson winning unanimous MVP. And so that's why he's torn. I think he really does see flashes from both Watson and Shedeur, and he's like, oh, I could work with this. Or, oh, no, I could make this work as well. And so, to me, if they're that close, if it's that even, I would just go with Shedeur. Unless Watson is miles ahead of Sanders, which that's clearly not the case right now, what do you have to gain by playing Watson if he and Shedeur are similar right now? That's my take. I'd rather see the young Shedeur Sanders play. We've seen Watson already. But that'll do it for the show today. You guys make sure you give me a follow across all social media platforms if you want to stay up to date. My Twitter is Joey070, Instagram Browns Report, IG, and TikTok Joey O'Brien for my youngins that want to go follow me and get the edits I post about the Browns on there. Appreciate you so much tuning in to the show. I've been your host, Joey O'Donohue, and I'll see you guys next time.